Right guys, this is another YouTuber, GB Stars, but this is a serious one. It's not one where I'm going to be stupid or daft. It's one where I'm going to be talking about mental health and how it affects people in the UK and around the world. Well, what can I say about mental health? Mental health affects many people all over the world. It affects people in different ways and it has many levels, such as you can hear voices with it and stuff like that, and it's nothing to be laughed at or nothing to be ashamed of or anything, because mental health just creeps up on people. It makes people feel suicidal, and people don't want to interact with other people, and they feel ashamed of having mental health. But mental health is nothing to be ashamed of. They have mental health charities out there, and there are many people that that don't know where to turn, don't know who to talk to, or what to do about it. They just go into their own little world and their own little ball. And like mental health can have many effects on people. Can make them feel ill, sick, headachy and stuff like that. They can hear voices like schizophrenia. Uh, what else? And they don't know where to turn. But there are mental health charities out there, and there are people out there to help you, like me. I went. I'm not saying I'm bad on mental health, but I had a bit of anxiety and problems like that, like we all do, and we all deal with stuff in different ways. And I would like to say, this is my way of dealing with my anxiety problems. What I did is, I went out with this girlfriend of mine. She split up with me. Obviously, I started going off rails, fighting people. I was going down into my own downward spiral. Do you know what I mean? And it's not very good to go on a downward spiral, because the only way to get out of a downward spiral is to hit rock bottom. When you hit rock bottom, that's when you know you need to get some help. And some people don't like admitting it, but the first step to getting rid of mental health, well, not getting rid of it, but getting a handle on it and getting it into your head and stuff like that, is to admit that you've got a problem. And that is the first step to handling what is wrong with you. Okay? So what you do is, you go to a counsellor, obviously ring a counsellor or just talk one-to-one, like on a weekly basis, like an hour or two, or as much as you want, because counsel will just listen to you. Like they do me, I went in a group. We used to talk about, because I've got panic attacks and anxiety and stuff like that. And we used to talk about coping mechanisms and how to deal with things. And it's about your brain. Your brain overtakes your body. But what you've got to do is you've got to overtake your brain and have a positive mindset. And once you have a positive mindset, you say to yourself, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to achieve this today, and I'm going to be proud of myself for achieving it. Like write yourself down some goals, like 1 to 10, and give yourself a time limit to complete them 1 to 10 stuff and stuff like that. They can give you medication on it as well. Medication's not for everyone, but people do like taking a bit of medication. And what I did is I went to an anxiety group with loads and loads of people I didn't even know about. 30 people, I'd say, or 20 or 30 people. I'm not ashamed to admit it, because there's nothing to be ashamed of having mental health. Mental health is part of life. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I'll say to all you guys and girls and anybody that's got mental health out there, never ever feel ashamed of your body, yourself, the way you look, the way you think, the way you are, who you look up to. what you do in life. Never, ever, ever in life be ashamed of yourself, because you're your own person. If no one likes you for who you are, fuck 'em. They're not worth knowing. The people that are worth knowing are the people that are there for you when you're at your downward spiral and when you are in that mindset where you think life's not worth living and stuff like that. But life is worth living. Think about what you've got in life, not what you haven't got. Think about what you've got in life. Because there are people out there that are far worse off than yourself. Stuff like that. There's people out there in wheelchairs. There's people out there that can't talk. There's people out there paralysed. There's people out there, taking drugs. There's alcoholics out there. There's people out there in prisons and stuff like that. So just think yourself lucky, mate, and look at life in a different way. Well, try to look at life in a different way. I know it sounds hard, because it is hard, because I've been through it and stuff like that with anxiety problems. I'm not bad at mental health, but I know a bit about it, stuff like that. And what I did is I went to a group and we used to talk about coping mechanisms. And what I said is I used to have loads and loads of... I used to get mini panic attacks and I'd get scared and stuff like that. And I just didn't want to be in certain places. Like, I went to a party at my mum and dad's, all my chests were going tight, and I just couldn't cope, do you know what I mean? And you just get out of that situation, put yourself into a situation where you're in a bubble, and people don't like going out of that bubble, like they just don't like going out of the bubble and stuff like that. But as for me, I made myself do it. You've got to try. I know it sounds hard, and you might think I'm talking crap, but you've got to try and push yourself, even though you might not want to. Just try a little step at a time. Just think one day I'm going to do this, then the next day I'm going to do that, then the day after that I'm going to do this, then the day after that I'm going to do that, then after that, that. And it just becomes natural to you, you know what I mean? It just becomes a natural way of living and coping. What I did is we went to this group, talked about coping mechanisms, and I said one of my coping mechanisms is having a panic attack is like being on a train. How do you stop a train that's got no brakes? Just crash into a wall. And I said just run into a wall. And the lady said to me, when I said that, "Oh, you can't think like that." I says, "Yeah, but that's the way I think. That is the way I'm thinking. You can't tell me what to think. Not at all. You can advise me what to think and give me coping mechanisms, but it's whether my brain takes it in or not." And I used to go play a game of pool and stuff like that. So there are always ways out there, and there is coping mechanism groups, there is anxiety groups, there's groups for people with mental health and stuff like that. And I just thought I'd put my point across. So if you leave your comments if you leave your views in the comments, you might have thought I've been talking crap, but if you leave your views in the comments, I'll try and get back to you and answer loads and answer them all. But this has been my vlog for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Obviously, it's not a good one, but it's talking about mental health and people that suffer from mental health. It's not very good. So I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all get better from your problems and whatever's going on in life. And just think positive, try to. And remember, there is people out there willing to help people with mental health. So just pick up the phone or talk to a family member or just talk to a close friend. And that close friend will give you some advice. Simple. Boom. Let's get into this bitch. Yeah? Over and over. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to GB Stars at GB Stars 40. Thank you for listening.